Hello, this is Matt on the MoneyGram channel. A Platinum Network CEO says that Bitcoin and XRP settlements are getting more and more popular. So I'm going to cover that. I've got a little bit of an update for you on MoneyGram. There's going to be an interview coming up with MoneyGram CEO Alex Holmes. And then I'll wrap up this video with an article from You Today it's just for fun. It's titled Peter Schiff on Bitcoin Halving. Half of nothing is still nothing. You gotta love this. This is entertaining. I love covering Peter Schiff. I'm a fan of him. I just think he couldn't be more wrong about cryptocurrency. Not that he's necessarily wrong entirely about Bitcoin. He just doesn't see the utility. And frankly, as it pertains to Bitcoin, I don't really either. Store value in and of itself is not going to be a long-term answer for Bitcoin, I don't think. But hey, I could be wrong. But before I go any further here, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the MoneyGram channel. And you know what, since this is my first video today, I will mention this. I am aware of the negative price action today. I want to state right now that I am not worried in the least bit, even if it goes further. I've been prepared for that. If it does, I've been following those chart analysts and technical analysts that I think make sense to follow, and I share that information with you on not on a daily basis, but fairly periodically. And so I am going to make a separate video about that because there actually is a lot to cover on that front. So I didn't want you to think that since there was a notable shift to the downside that I'm not addressing it right off the bat. No, I'm going to talk about it, just not in this video. Now, the first piece that I want to talk about, I got from Poochie on Twitter. He tagged me along with a few others, and so shout out to you, good sir. I do appreciate you bringing this to my attention. It's a good read here. And again, this one titled, Bitcoin XRP Settlements Getting More and More Popular, says Platinum Network CEO. During the major Latin American crypto conference, Hugo Cuevas notes that crypto payments are getting more popular, and so calls 2019 an interesting year. And mind you, even though I'm not going to talk about price, just to keep in your mind that the price action is doing what it does because people panic sell. Real world adoption continues to occur. Now, Hugo Cuevas is an expert in the money transfer sphere and the CEO of Platinum Network. His LinkedIn page calls him, quote, a consultant for a number of financial institutions in the money transfer, remittances, and cross-border industry in the U.S., Europe, Latin America, and Africa. Besides established companies, he advises fintech firms, blockchain-based projects, innovative financial services associations, and trade groups. And then the article continues. During the LaBitConf event this December, Cuevas stated that he observed more and more settlements are being conducted in crypto this year. Bitcoin, XRP, XLM. Specifically, those three. Now, as it pertains to XRP, those of us in the know, which is probably just about everybody listening, I know that there's always new people coming on board entering the world of crypto, and that might be you listening to this, but the vast majority of people that listen to this channel, I suspect, are really deeply into this in terms of staying abreast of what's going on. I know that I certainly am. It's obviously a very specific type of content. And so as a result, I think that many of you are probably aware that in terms of adoption of XRP for actual settlements, the utility is there. It's demonstrated at scale in the real world. Now, during the LaBitConf Latin American conference dedicated to cryptocurrency and blockchain, which took place in Uruguay on December 12th through the 13th this year, Hugo Cuevas said that 2019 has been very interesting since more and more settlements between companies are being done in crypto. In particularly, he named Bitcoin, XRP, and Stellar's XLM in the context of remittances. He added that banks are being very slowly to understand this new trend. And that's a broken sentence I wanted to highlight because this is crypto media, and so you just type up a draft of whatever you think you want to publish, and then rather than read the draft and correct it for errors and inconsistencies, you just upload it. That's what you do here. So that's what was done with that broken sentence. And then the broken article continues. Banks are still taking days to conduct money transfers, whereas crypto can do it much faster and cheaper. Both these nuances are very important for companies who use crypto settlements and for people who use XRP for remittances. And then they actually had a tweet from a notable XRP community member, Stephen Bull from the Deep. tweeted this out. Settlements are being more and more done in crypto, such as Bitcoin and others, XRP and XLM. More and more companies are using crypto to settle payments. 2019 has been interesting. So basically the entire content of what was covered right there. And so I thought, especially with the the chart action that is occurring today, the price volatility to the negative side, it's worth highlighting all sorts of stuff going on. Look, I'm telling you, yes, like I said, I'll talk about price in a different video, but there's a lot to talk about today outside of that. Seriously, it's always hard for me. Almost every day, I'm not kidding you not, it's difficult for me to figure out what to put into these videos without making them unnecessarily wrong. Because the only way to cover everything, if I literally wanted to do that, is I could have like 2-3 sentences about each topic and then run through everything. But to me, that's not even productive. I'd rather just take a deeper dive into those news stories that I find to be the most interesting. So that's the approach that I always take. But there's all sorts of stuff that I've never covered that I kind of wish there was time for. But this is a hobby, running this channel, not a full-time job. I love doing it, so happy to put hours into it per day. But still, there's got to be a point where I'm like, okay, that's enough. All right, next, here's a tweet that I got from Frecky. I was tagged in this along with some other XRP community members, including some of my fellow XRP YouTubers. And so he tagged me, and it was a retweet of this message from Cynthia Russo, who wrote this. A Coinbase question for XRP people. Coinbase has limits on bank wire transfers of 250,000 United States dollars. Isn't the whole point of XRP that it scales/settles in seconds? Shouldn't Coinbase be able to use XRP to instantly transfer money when XRP moons, making wire transfers obsolete? Well, those are so I wanted to answer that. Those are two very different things. As far as a $250,000 USD limit, I think that varies by account. Maybe that's where it maxes out. I don't remember the specifics for their platform, but that's something that they arbitrarily chose based on whatever metrics they decided to track. Or who knows? Maybe they drew a number out of a hat. I don't know. I'm just saying. But that's unrelated to XRP's use case as a bridge currency. So when you say, shouldn't Coinbase be able to use XRP to instantly transfer money when XRP moons, making wire transfers obsolete? Well, XRP is being used as a bridge currency, converting one fiat currency to another. What you're really talking about is the local rails on either side. And so, as it pertains to cross-border settlements, yeah, it absolutely speeds stuff up. And it is better than just that, though, because obviously the part in the middle where XRP is used, that's where the real magic happens. Using XRP, that is the secret sauce. But RippleNet's Ripple's technology, known as RippleNet now, the messaging portion formerly known as XCurrent, well, that's absolutely speedy too, because it uses bidirectional communication, which really, frankly, doesn't take place with Swift. And so, yeah, there's things that you can do utilizing blockchain to speed up local rails, but that doesn't necessarily utilize XRP. And in the case of converting from United States, just moving USD from one account to another domestically, I don't see a particular use for XRP, because it's not the XRP part there's no middle there. That's a better way to frame it there. There's no middle part. It's more so just when you're converting from one fiat currency to another. So really what we're talking about is the problem of just slow local rails. That's pretty much it. And so that can improve, absolutely. And so you've got a blend of that. As it pertains to RippleNet, you actually do have that in conjunction with utilizing a cryptocurrency, XRP, as a bridge currency. You get both with that. But it doesn't mean the rest of the way the money moves around the planet was fixed by this. Most certainly not. And so it's a fascinating question, so I thought I'd just highlight it and share my 2 cents on that. Next, here's a tweet from, let me scroll up here, from MoneyGram. In case you missed it, our CEO, Alex Holmes, will be on First Move with Julia Chatterley on CNN tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time / 8 a.m. Central Time. What questions do you think he'll be asked? And so, and I highlighted last week, because this was actually recorded last week, Julia Chatterley, the host here who's interviewing Alex Holmes, she actually put a tweet out, what questions do you want asked, and some people from the XRP community responded. So I think it'll be real fascinating to see if any of those get on the air. I don't know if they're going to credit anybody who asked the question. It'd be neat if they did, but probably not. But really what I'm looking for in addition to that is just seeing if Alex Holmes has any additional new insight as far as how their company's performing now that they're partnering with Ripple, utilizing on-demand liquidity. It'd be real interesting to see if he has anything to say about implications of what it will ultimately do to their bottom line. Now, given that they're such a massive company and it's only a fraction of a % of their total transaction as a company are going through XRP, it's not going to be earth-shattering, but that's not because they don't want to increase the usage of on-demand liquidity. It's quite the opposite. But the truth of the matter is those corridors still need to be built out. So it's all coming. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And yeah, obviously their stock price also not so hot lately. But I think that's mostly, if I had to guess, because there's been no negative fundamental shift in what's happening with MoneyGram. I still tend to think that has more to do with just there's a lot of speculation pushing the price up, and then it's just retracing, which you see in traditional stock market, obviously, as well as the cryptocurrency asset class. All right, next here, this is a fun one. Oh, Peter Schiff. You my boy. Peter Schiff on Bitcoin halving. Half of nothing is still nothing. And I got to tell you, I've watched enough of this guy that for a while I tell you earlier on, I was kind of like, does he really believe what he's saying? Because he's selling gold. Is it just he's afraid of this or that? But I don't think so. I think he really believes what he's saying. And I don't know that anybody's made a good case to him as far as why the importance of cryptocurrencies should stem from utility. I don't think that case has really been made to him, because he's a sharp guy. He's a good businessman, presumably. It seems like he's been very successful. If he wanted to jump into the world of crypto, as many others have, he simply could have. I don't think he believes in it. So anyway, in a recent interview with Kitco, Europe Pacific Capital CEO Peter Schiff made it clear that he hasn't changed his stance on Bitcoin. The gold bug kept lambasting the leading cryptocurrency and its holders. When Kitco's Daniela Cambone mentioned the upcoming halving of Bitcoin, Schiff didn't show an ounce of excitement. He claimed that half of nothing was still nothing, meaning that Bitcoin's minor reward reduction from 12.5 Bitcoin to 6.25 Bitcoin would not change anything. It's funny. See, he's talking from a fundamental perspective. He really does believe that there are no fundamentals. From a trading perspective, I don't know if he'd necessarily believe it if you want to parse out the words that far, and I didn't really get into it to that degree, but even so, even if he were correct and there were no use for utility, obviously the market disagrees with him. There's a reason crypto's been here for over a decade. And so from a trading perspective, I still suspect that it will represent an opportunity, and that's not financial advice. I want to be real clear. No financial background here. It's just an opinion here. But Schiff reiterated that he didn't hate the leading cryptocurrency since it was just an abstraction or fool's gold. Moreover, he believes that Bitcoin will not see another speculative rally, and its price will continue to fall. And here's a quote from him. I just think that we are in a bear market. Bitcoin topped out about 2 years ago, in fact, a little over 2 years ago. So the price of Bitcoin has been falling for the past 2 years, and I expect that to continue. Now, I want to point out that when Bitcoin in 2017, I think it was, I want to say September, could be wrong, but I think September of 2017, Peter Schiff tweeted out, I believe it was a tweet anyway, I'm just kind of pulling from memory here, but he's talking about Bitcoin hit 4,000, or pulled back to 4,000, maybe that's what happened. And he said that's pretty much it. Like any time there's any sort of negative price action, and if he's talking about Bitcoin, he's saying it's end of times. It's doomsday, that's it, and it's going to keep going down. He's always been saying it's got a ways to go, back down to zero. And it's just so funny because I get it, the price action hasn't been fun lately, but crypto is just not going away, period. I am very firm on that. Even if I'm wrong about XRP, which I really, really don't think I am. Even if, though, crypto is not going away, period. It's absolutely not. And so just think about it. How could a true Ponzi have a bubble that can inflate and then pop so many times over the span of a decade, but then just keep on trucking like that? It's because there's something to it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it, though. That's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything, because if anything I say or write, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!